guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, as you can see, I have my lovely friend Palisa back by popular demand.
Sorry.
Alright, so as you can see from the title of this video, the message that we have today, or the conversation that we're having today, is about the life of a late bloomer. So I'm going to first explain what that is. I think we should Google it also, because I don't know the Google meaning. I just know, like, from my own knowledge of what it is.
A late bloomer is.
Let's see. Okay, so we're going to start with the description or the meaning that the internet has of what a late bloomer is, and then after we'll share what we think a late bloomer is.
Yes.
So yeah.
So it says on Wikipedia, a late bloomer is a person whose talents or capabilities are not visible to others until later than usual. The term is used metaphorically to describe a child or an adolescent who develops slower than others in their age group, but eventually catches up, and in some cases overtakes their peers.
I think I relate more to like the second description about when you develop slower and you end up catching up later with your peers while they are further than you. For me personally, I see it like that. Like, you know how when you're growing up, like there's just kids that are like just so quick, like they do things quickly, like they date, for example, they date at a younger age, or they do like a lot of things and you're not there yet. So you're still like, what's that? So like I feel like I relate more to that description. It's basically like developing later, or experiencing things later at a later time, at a later stage.
In your age group.
Yes, and the people that you're surrounded with in your age group. Yeah. What is it to you, friend? Same.
It's
Yeah.
the same. It's the same. So I'm gonna say, so obviously we're both Christian.
Yeah.
And first of all, let me ask you, do you think your Christianity played a part in this, or you just developed later?
I think like for a small part of it, it was me, and then because I became Christian at a young age, it also added
to that.
Yes, it made it longer.
Okay.
Or it made it more.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that my Christianity is the sole reason.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so without it, you would have been...
Of course.
Really?
Friend,
You're not giving that vibe.
I'm telling you.
You're definitely not giving that vibe.
I'm telling you. Like, for me, my Christianity is the reason. Because I used to, like, talk to God about everything. Yeah. And I used to talk to him about boys. And I was like, hey.
At what age was that, though?
When I got to high school. My Christian faith started, like, heavily in high school. Okay. So that's when I was like, God, I don't want boys, I don't want anything. Yeah. And vele.
That's what you did.
That mindset. Even when a boy got, I was like, it literally was like that.
Okay, so it doesn't have anything to do with your background.
No.
Like how you grew up, like your parents are like, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Because my parents were very free. They were liberal. Like, my parents didn't check us. What time did you get home? Where were you? With who you? None of that. My parents didn't do.
So you actually had that, like you could if you wanted to.
If I wanted to.
Yeah.
Even my friends, my friends started dating very young. Everyone was like around me, was like living their best life. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want.
Okay, so, that's interesting. I never saw you. Because how I know you is like, you're naturally like that. Like, I thought you were just naturally slow. I wouldn't think that, like, if it wasn't for Christianity, you'd be something different. Because I can't imagine you being something different.
The only reason is my faith.
Hectic. Okay, so for me, it's completely different because, well, I became Christian at a young age, like very, very young, because my mom always church. But then there was times where we were not really going to church, so I was exposed to outside. Okay. Like, you know, like the children that I was playing with around, and then also in high school, because in high school that's a world of its own. Like, it's not what you experience with your church friends or what you experience at home. It's like something completely different. So in those times when, like, because when you're young, like, Christianity is not really like your thing. it's like you're supposed to do it, you're supposed to go to church, but it's not a personal thing yet.
Yes.
So at those times when it wasn't really personal for me, I was just going to church, I still had a we are still too young to do 1, 2, 3, or I'm not interested in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So then when I became like, when I had my personal relationship with God, which was in high school also, then it became worse. Like I just was not interested in whatever my friends were doing. Like I was just like, and also like my mind wasn't open to that. Like I wasn't, it's not that I didn't want to, it's just that my mind wasn't open to those things. Like I wasn't interested, I didn't care about it. Because for some people it's like, okay, I know this thing happens, but then I must tell myself that I mustn't do it. Like I must restrict myself. But for me it's like, I don't care. I don't care about boys, I don't care about alcohol, I care about nothing. I just want to be in school and study. And I think we even mentioned it in that video, yes, that dating while you're in school, like
it didn't make
sense. Like you're supposed to focus on your books, so why are you talking to boys? Boys are for when you're done with school and you're an adult and you're developed, you see.
Okay, so for me, same with you, like we go to church because of our parents and all of that, and then for me, I genuinely met the Lord for myself when I was in high school, when I was starting high school, and that was the only reason that I stayed away from those other things. Like I didn't, like I was just like school and going to church, school and church, school and church. I wasn't interested in those other things. I tried to keep away from them. If they would come, I was like, no, thank you, I don't want. I just didn't want to. Considering now, like I'm deep within, I'm going to church consistently, praying all the time, all of those things, like my relationship with God was starting. So those things I felt like they were going to distract me or something. So I was like, no, it's okay, I don't want that.
Then you stay away.
So I stayed away. And I've been away.
Like you made that conscious decision to stay away.
Exactly.
Because sometimes, like I just want to make it clear that sometimes it's circumstantial that you are like that. Like you're just a late bloomer, you're just not into these things like me. And then sometimes it's like a decision that you make that, okay, you know what, this is the life that I want to live, so I don't want to participate in A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Exactly.
So I think that's very important, because you don't need to blame yourself for, if you were not a late bloomer and you experienced things, like there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way that your path was supposed to go. But for some people it was different. So I think this chat in general is just for those people that feel like you're behind, or feel like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I not doing things that other kids are doing? You don't have to feel that way. We are together. We are with you.
We are with you, girl. Okay, now that your circumstances were what they were,
and I was who I was.
Exactly, and you were who you were. Do you feel like in high school, or maybe with the kids that you were playing around with, was there a pressure to join in on what they were doing? Because really, you hadn't decided yet. So when you were faced with like external pressures, how did you take that?
I think, like I said, I just didn't want, like I was very firm in the fact that I don't care, like I'm not interested in those things. So I had vele friends that would be like, oh Mgani, I was at my man's place, or we went out and we did this and this and this, and I would be like, oh okay, how was it, whatever. But I wouldn't say, like I didn't feel like I also wanted to do the same thing. Like I was okay with them doing that, and they knew me, like they knew that this girl
Not her.
she's not that type of girl. So no one tried to persuade me to do anything. So there wasn't really pressure, there wasn't really temptation, because everybody understood who I was, and I understood who they were, and we just lived our lives. But at the same time, I feel like people then started to call me, hey Mama Ruti, what that, because I usually go to church. So I had that Mama Ruti image, and it wasn't nice, because it's not like I'm not but I didn't care, because I was like, that if that's the price I'm gonna have to pay for being myself, then it's fine. So I was like, okay, Mom Ruth. They used to call me that in my class. They'd be like, hey Mom Ruth, vele, we know that you're not gonna come because when I get you're going to church on Sunday. And I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. So yeah, I didn't really feel like pressure or anything of that sort. And you?
Wait, did you not feel pressure at all? Like in high school, out of high school, was there a time when you felt the pressure?
No.
Or like not at all?
No, I won't lie. I've never, ever.
For me, I feel like there was also no pressure.
Yeah.
Like I had made the decision by myself.
Yes.
I was going to I was going into like a new school, obviously grade 8 high school. So now it's like, you don't know a lot of people, you don't know who's there with you, you don't know anything, like you just like, so you just do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really like I didn't have like a lot of close friends. I was just fine with a lot of people.
Yeah, like
so I wasn't like, oh, Bish is my close friend and this is what she does, so let's do it. Nah, I didn't have that.
Those tight relationships. It was like people that you know.
Yes, people that I knew, the people that I had tight relationships with had left.
Yeah, okay.
So it was like a fresh start almost.
Okay.
So then I went in, fresh start, and I was doing it on my own. I didn't feel like someone had to be here, someone had to be. So when I made that conscious decision, the decision was made and I was doing it on my own.
Okay.
I didn't expect anyone to understand,
or to
support, or to hear me, or to whatever. I just did it. And so once I did it, whoever said whatever was their problem. It had nothing to do with
But
me.
I'm sure they did notice that this girl, she's different.
It
like,
was
she's
completely
not, like why is she not participating in ABC? Why is she not interested in? So it wasn't it like they were always curious about why you're like that, like asking you questions?
Not really. Like I feel like they also just saw for themselves, because it was like a complete 180. Like I went from having an attitude, being a naughty child, all of those things to
in primary. I don't see it. I don't see it.
I was a bully friend. Even it was crazy,
shocking.
And then I went to now in this new school, new everything. I'm well managed.
Born again.
I'm born again. I'm going to like that the church they have during break. So all of those things, like I was genuinely like, it just turned around.
Yeah.
It completely turned around.
I also remember going to that school. I think we also mentioned it in the previous video. Yeah. That we went to that church school thing during breaks. And my first break, I think it was the second break or first break where I went. But one was for studying, the other one was for going to the church. And it was like, this girl is boring. Like, why are you boring? And I could never really explain it. I was just like, I want to do this thing, that's all. So I think that's why it also hindered having tight relationships with whatever friends that you had or people that you knew, because you couldn't do things together.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It was always like, when are you never going to do it? So I think it's a challenge in that sense that you don't have relatability with the people in your school. Yes. Like there's nothing that you guys can relate to. There's nothing that brings you close and be like, because you are different and you're not interested in the things that they're interested in. Yeah. But then luckily for us, because we're independent individuals, we didn't feel the pressure to succumb and be like, okay, let me try to, just so that I can have friends. Like I couldn't care less about friends at all. So I think that even just for anyone that feels like you want to relate, like I feel like it's normal to want to relate
to other people,
to be able to be like, yo, what was going down, your friend, it was so fun, having that tight relationship where you're relating with people. But at the same time, if it's costing you who you are, then I don't think it's worth it. And if you're not comfortable with things, it's fine.
It's okay not to be. Not to be comfortable with people, things that people want to do. Let's go, guy, let's go.
Do you think maybe we could have tried to find our people?
I think,
because I'm sure they are there.
No, but
there's no way that like you can't have people that are with you in what, like that can relate.
But that forms and get over time. So once that happened for me. So once I had decided that this is the journey that I'm taking, or this is the path that I met the people that were on the same lane as me. So if it was like school related, there were people that were also focused on their academics that I became close with. If it was like religion,
church things,
then there were people that I, and then like at the end of like my high school journey, there were people that I was like, these are like my people, because it came along the way. So you don't have to be alone, basically. Because I think if there's anything I could have done different was maybe just find my people. You didn't find people that you related to? No, I didn't. I just had, it was like, we go to the same church thing at break together. So amazing, we're doing that. But I never like
they were not in my life like that. It wasn't people that I could confide in, whatever. We just did that thing together. Basically. But I think that you can like find your people like and build solid relationships with them, because to be alone, it's not necessary. You don't have to be alone, and that's where you become weak and you feel like, let me just succumb, because why you're alone. So if you can find your people, then please do that. Okay, so as we know, like being a church girl or like a girl that is slow to develop, blah 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 blah, there's certain stereotypes and stigmas that people attach to you, or like they feel like because you're the certain person, then you shouldn't do A B C D E F G. The minute, because you said you're a church girl, the minute now you're at a party, wait, now your people are like, Mom Ruti, they used to do that to me, like, oh, Mom Ruti, you're at a party. And it's like, am I not supposed to? Do you understand? So it's like, now I feel like as we got older, when you get older, like you start to think differently and you start to view your faith differently also. Like there's things that are incorporated where you're like, okay, this can be done, this one, like, you know, and you're no longer having a boxed mentality of, and you're also not allowing people to box you. So I want to share a little more about how I navigated that, breaking those stereotypes, blah, 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 blah. So for me, I don't know, should I start or do you want to start?
You can start.
Okay. So for me, when I got older, like when I got out of church, that's when we started to open our minds. Like, okay, what are boys? Boys, what do you do? Boys, what do you... Or alcohol, how does it go? Or like going to parties, going out, socializing, like how do those things work? And I think that in my journey towards that, I always had the thing of like, okay, so I'm a Christian girl. I'm a girl that loves God. So when I navigate these spaces, I must still have that with me. Do you understand? So for example, if I'm going to a party, I'm not gonna drink and get drunk and be sloppy.
Was that automatic? Like when you started, is that how it went?
That's the thoughts, the mentality that I had. So it's not necessarily that I didn't make mistakes or I didn't find myself in a certain place that I never thought I would. It's just that I had that thing of, okay, if I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, let me make sure that it's still in line with my faith. Do you understand? Yes. So when I went into, okay, let me go out, let me have a glass of whatever. And then it's like, okay, let me just make sure that I don't get drunk or things like that. Like, let me not act out of character because of that. Yes. So so obviously it's not perfect. One day you see yourself over drinking, or the next it's something else. But then that was always the goal, basically, that whenever I navigate these spaces, whatever it is, I still have my faith intact and I don't act out of character, basically.
Okay.
And for you?
For me it was different. Like for me, I found it very difficult to navigate those spaces. Because of the stereotypes that came with being a Christian, being like a devoted servant of the Lord, all of those things.
That image that comes with it.
Exactly. I found it very hard to do it with God. That was very hard. So for me, it was either like, if you go and do these things, you are moving away from the Lord.
It's picking a side.
Exactly.
You can't have both.
You can't be in the church in your faith and go out, meet boys, what. Because for me, I found that those things were almost like a distraction, or like they took you away from.
They were not contributing. They were not helping.
They were not adding to. They were taking away. Do you understand? And so it took time and it took experience for me to kind of learn that, okay, you also have to kind of discern the spaces that you go into, what you do in those spaces. Do those things take you with who? Do they take you away or do they bring you closer? Because I also met you at a
that was a cute space though.
It was a cute space with the right people also. But also, I feel like you can meet genuine people in places like that still bring you. It doesn't have to always be negative.
The end of it.
Or so it took experience and it took like time, discerning for me to figure that out, because it wasn't cute
like that. Yeah.
when it started.
No, it makes sense because it's like normally like realistically those things don't make you better type of thing. Like realistically they don't add to your faith, but then at the same time you can't hide the fact that those things are enjoyable. It's nice to go out, it's nice to have a glass of whatever like, you know, it's nice to be to like a boy and be in a relationship with him. Do you understand? Those things are life things, normal things, and to sit there and understand that it's okay to want those things. It's just how you navigate it that makes you know the difference. So also, like, I feel like with you, what I saw was like the guilt that you had. Yes, it was like, okay, now hey, I drank a glass of now I feel guilty, or I feel like I am not pleasing to God anymore, like, you know, those type of things. So it's also like the first step is not feeling guilty, to remove the guilt and shame that comes with those things. Because I think that if you know that, okay, you overdid it and you acted out of character, I would understand that form of accountability, like, I was wrong, I feel guilty, I feel shame. So meaning that moving forward I must move different. But if you're just drinking your glass of and you are fine in spaces, you are happy with the people that care about you, the people that hold you accountable, the people that love you, and the people that are growing you, what is there to feel guilty about? Do you understand?
I think what's also important is like defining those things for yourself. Right? I think that the whole stereotype notion is other people defining. So taking back that control and being like, okay, so what does this thing mean to me? How would I like to navigate this? Would I like to do this? Do I want to try it? If I do, speak to your friends, people that you feel like can hold you accountable for certain things,
people that care about you and they want to see you going down the right road.
And then don't do it by yourself, don't do it hiding, don't do it because that can lead you into other things. But like also just defining it for yourself, and then once you've defined it that this is what I want to do, this is what I want to try, involving the people that are close to you, and then getting a feel of it, like how does it make me feel, how does did it do bad, did it do good, like what did it do for my life, was I happy, was I with the people that, if that's the case, but then if now it like took you into other things, then maybe you consider.
Sorry, when it comes to like defining, there's people that are like, what was the point of you drinking if you're not drunk? Like, what are you doing? If you're not gonna be drunk, like what are you doing? Point? Like, it's the whole purpose of this thing is for you to be drunk and to lose yourself, basically. So if you're not that, then what is? So now taking back the power, taking back the control, taking back the definition is to say, I can drink and still be fine. Like, I don't have to go down that route in order for me to say I enjoy alcohol.
The experience.
Do you understand? So for a lot of people, it's different. Some people are drinking because they've got problems, and some people are drinking because they want to forget. Like, do you understand? So for you to sit down and be like, okay, I want to drink to enjoy, I want to drink to relax, I want to drink to, then you define it for yourself, and that way you're less likely to go down the other routes that you don't want to go down. Also, what is important is to speak to God about it, like to talk to God about it and be like, you know what, today I was with this boy and I didn't feel nice. Like, it didn't. Do you think? Do you understand? Like, involve God in this thing, because He knows that you're gonna want boys. He knows that you're gonna want to go out with your friends. He knows all of those things. And I think one of the things that we need to do is like pray before we go out and pray for protection. Like, your God must protect us. And we've seen how God has carried us through the. Where we are like, you see, tonight was a mess, but God was 100% there, and we're still able to see Him in the midst of all of those things. And that's where you're able to see that God doesn't want to keep you in a prison. He doesn't want you to not experience life. He doesn't want you to not enjoy yourself. You just have to involve Him,
of course.
And I think that's where the beauty of it came for us. It was like, God is still here. Like, we are going out, we are dressed, makeup on, and God was there protecting us. You know, there were people that were nice to us, that were able to help us. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2. Do you understand? So to involve God is also a big part of it.
1000%.
And the only way you can do that is if you remove the shame and to walk boldly into His throne room and say, God, you are here for my life, therefore I am involving you.
I love that. that.
So now that we are grown and we were able to sit down with ourselves and be able to navigate those spaces and decide, okay, is this who I want to be? Is this where I want to go? Am I fine with this? Is it something that I can continue? How do you think that at what point do you think you've reached now? Like, where are you now? Do you feel like you've settled? Like, now I know, okay, this I go, here I don't go. Do you think that you are at that place where you fully know where you stand?
Yes. That's the first one, right? Yes. I think that going into certain spaces, right? You first get a feel of like, okay, how is this one? How is A? How is B? How is C? How is D? And then there's repercussions, right? That come with now, okay, I tried this. Maybe I didn't do it the way that I wanted to do it or intended on doing it. Now, this is a repercussion, right?
That I'm facing.
Exactly. So after like a couple of those and like, okay, these repercussions aren't cute. They're not what I expected, right? All of that has brought me closer to God. All of that has made me realize that it's pointless. Like, let me say it like this. If God is not in it, then it's pointless.
It's not worth it.
It's
like,
empty.
What am I doing?
It's not as fulfilling as you thought that it would be. It's not what it's made to be on the internet or on anything like that.
On the peers around us telling us that it's like this.
It's really not. It's really that's where I am now. Like, I'm at a point where it's like, okay, it's not that deep. This thing, I tried it. Would I do it again? Okay, sharp, if I want to. Maybe. I don't know. But if God is not in it,
then it's not worth it.
It's really not. That's where I am with everything now.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Because I think it's also like when you're able to just, because you're curious, like you're young, you're curious. So it's like, I've experienced it. So what is the conclusion now? Is it something that we continue with or
is it
not?
Something we leave in?
Exactly. So I think that kind of makes sense, where you're just like, at the end of the day, the goal is to be with God and to be a child of God. And if it means that these things I mustn't do them, then so be it. Do you understand? I know what it's like now. Because another thing is like not talking in theory. Because a lot of the times Christians like to talk about things that they don't know about.
They have never experienced.
Exactly, you've never experienced it. So you don't really know. You don't have information about what you're saying. So when you're coming to a conclusion, the revelation is not as deep as when you have had that journey that you've walked with. So now, sitting and saying, alcohol is not for me, I'm grand, guys. The revelation is much deeper. And if someone had to ask you and be like, but Lisa Fancy, why don't you drink? It becomes a much fruitful conversation than you just saying, I'm Christian, I just don't drink because I'm Christian.
But also not to say that you have to experience everything for you to have fruitful conversations with people about those things.
Yeah, you don't have to. But it's just saying that if you have walked that journey, at some point you have to reach a point of revelation. And it's like when you speak to people, you give them something worth holding on to, something much deeper. You understand? I think for me, I've realized, like, for example, things like alcohol, I think I've accepted that I don't like it. Friend, it's not for me. Like, you know how you guys can drink, ne? And you feel like you are fine, like you enjoy it, like, friend, this thing tastes like. For me, it's like, even if they can say alcohol doesn't exist anymore, I'll be fine. Because I even realized that, like, most of the time when I drink is because I'm with you guys, and it's like we ordered something, so you and me, friend. But I would never want it.
So you've never had a drink that actually tastes nice, that you go
they
back
do
to the
taste
whole
nice.
time?
It's just that I don't like it. It's just not for me. Like, I don't think I'd ever find a drink that would satisfy me, because they do taste nice. It's just that alcohol is not my thing. Do you understand? It's just like not my thing. I'm not saying that they taste terrible or I've had bad experiences. It's just not my thing. So now I think I'm even gonna be at the point where I just don't drink at all, at all. Do you understand? So then now it was like, I am with my friends, we're having a good time, so I'm gonna drink, but I just never think of alcohol. Like, I don't even crave
you're
it,
not
because you
in
know how
that
people
space.
crave it. They're like, I'm craving a
Yes.
what, and I'm
Like
like,
a
how do you
cold drink at the end of the.
Because I know you
Yeah.
also have those cravings. Oh, I'm craving it, and I'm just like, I would never crave it. Like, I don't care about it. It's also like things like, for example, smoking. There's just the
Yeah.
people that would just never smoke. Like, it's just not my thing. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it's what. It's not that deep. It's just that it's not my thing. So I think that's one of the things that I've come to conclusion with, that
Alcohol is not your thing.
and like substance abuse, anything smoking, those things are just not my thing. I don't mind being with people that are doing it. It's great, but just not for me.
Okay.
And I think that also what helped in the journey of like not having a downfall because of those things. Because you know how some people are going to be like, okay, let's go and try, and then it becomes their downfall.
Yeah.
Like, you never come back, you never
recover,
like you never learn a lesson that makes you think differently, and you grow, and it never becomes that experience.
It like catches you, like
yes, it catches you, and then you're gone. Like, do you understand? Now we're like, yo, Palisa, what happened to you? And it's because you went down that route. That's why we're saying it's not for everyone. You don't have to go down that route of experiencing things. What I will say, the grace for me comes from the fact that when I was Christian in school, that is what kept me to not go in this journey of trying to experience. Do you understand? So if you take your Christianity seriously at that time, the depth in which we went into with our Christianity and making a personal relationship with God is what saved us. It is what kept us, say, from going that deep. Because it's like God is speaking to you and he's like, Valisa, what are you doing? Because why you've learned, that's for me. I don't know about you. So for me, it's like, because I've learned to hear the voice of God, I've learned to know what my scriptures say, I've learned to know what my spirit is saying. Whenever I'm doing something too much or I'm doing something wrong, there's always that thing that tells me that
not
yes. And that is because of those times when I was
Christian,
deep in it. Yes. So I think, even because I used to also pray a lot when I was in school. Yeah, so I used to pray at midnight every day for 1 hour. I pray, and I feel like those prayers are what has kept me to this point.
Yeah, I don't agree. Okay. Or maybe I have another perspective. For me, I think that could have been us. Ne?
Okay.
If that was our journey. I think that.
Are you saying the part of going down?
Going down.
Return? Okay.
Like, for me personally, I always feel like that person who has an addiction to something, someone that went in like and is struggling to come out of that thing, that could have easily been me.
In your verse, okay.
That could have been like nothing that I do, or nothing that because I don't know what my weakest point is. And maybe that thing could have been my weakest point, but it wasn't. Maybe there's another one. Maybe it's pride. Maybe it's something else that isn't that thing. But then nothing that I do could
have saved you
from that thing. I think it's always God. It's like it's just him.
So but what is God then? Isn't God the word? Isn't God prayer? Isn't God, when we're saying that I'm living a life with God, God is in prayer, God is in the word, God is in the... So I don't want to say that there's no point of
course, yeah.
Because there's a point in which those things work out for you.
Yes,
do you understand?
yes,
there's a benefit to it. It mustn't be a thing of whether you do it or not, you could die tomorrow, you could get out of control. Those things, he said we must do them for a reason, because he knows that that's what feeds our spirit, and that's what will keep us on this journey that we need to go. So when you take it seriously, that's why he's like, take it seriously, this thing, day and night, meditate on the word, because he knows that it reaps the fruits.
But friend, there are people that were Christian.
But I
get
it
people
depends.
that were Christian, and Libona, you can say that they were reading their Bible, they were doing this, and then they tried something, and it didn't come out as a positive, oh, this is what I learned, this and this and this. No, it came out like...
But it depends.
And maybe they're still in it even.
Yes.
Do you understand?
But I want to say that it depends, on your Christian journey. Because remember that there's a thing that says that there's a difference between a man that goes to church and a man of God. Do you understand? So there's two men that go to church on Sunday, has their Bible. Religiously, I'm there. And a man of God is someone that has a personal relationship with God, that takes it very seriously. So a lot of the times we see people that are men of the church, like men that go to church. Yes, Christians, the book Christians, the religious Christians. A lot of the times that
not the ones that have a
personal, and that is where the difference is. In my experience, the people that go and never come back and they were Christian are the people that were religiously living Christianity. They didn't have a personal relationship. I'm not saying that there's no exception. I'm just saying that from the way that I've seen it, it was people that were religious. They didn't have a relationship with God, type of thing. So I don't know about you, maybe, but I feel like it plays a role, like it plays a big role in it. Because there's times where I don't go to church for like months. But I still feel that thing of God is with me. I still have that moment of praying, still saying, I recognize God in this thing. For some people, if you don't go to church, there's no God. God is done. Like there's no, you don't even think about him. You don't even want to pray. You don't even say, God has saved me. Do you understand? So I feel like there's a difference.
There is a difference.
You can continue.
But I know people that are in hectic relationships with God, that are struggling with addiction.
Okay.
Within the relationship with God.
Yes.
So it's not even a thing that it's separate. It's not, I went and I never came back to God. No. Okay. I went and I'm here back with God, but I'm still struggling with that thing. Okay. I'm still struggling with drugs, or I'm still struggling with what it.
But that's all of us, Mara.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's all of us. We still struggling with something.
It doesn't have to be something that we can see. Yes. It doesn't have to be like an addiction that is carnal. Sometimes it is
something inside, you have pride,
like pride,
or
exactly. Sometimes it's lust.
So then that means that what we're saying is that the ones that you're talking about is the ones that went and never came back. Because I get you're saying that
from that thing. From that thing. Yes. Not necessarily from their relationship with God. They're back, but from that thing they are still struggling. From that thing has taken over, and it's still a thing that they are struggling with. It's still a thing, and I think that's something that we don't necessarily speak about in the church. Yes. In the church, that's where that whole stereotype conversation comes in, where just because you're in the church, you've dealt with things, you've figured things out. I think there was a post that I saw about this guy who was talking about how he's built a relationship with God for so many years, and currently he's still struggling with pornography. He's still struggling with the whole thing of lust, and he didn't know why. He was praying every day, God take it away, only for him to have a child who would struggle with that
also.
So he knew how to deal with the child because that was such a heavy struggle for him. So I think that it's God at the end of the day.
Okay, so let me make it clear ne? So my point was that there's no way that if you have a relationship with God, there's no way that you would go left and never come back to the relationship with God. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. That the times when you're praying, fasting, building a relationship with God will carry you to come back. But that doesn't, so now we're adding with what Melissa is saying, that doesn't eliminate the struggle.
That you are still struggling
with that thing. Yes, it doesn't eliminate the struggle. But then the difference is that you are with God. Do you understand? You are struggling
with
poverty inside with God, and that's what we want. We don't want to struggle outside of God or to move away from God. So the most important thing is that we are still within God, even though we are struggling. And when we are praying, it's gonna get better, but it doesn't necessarily eliminate it.
Exactly.
Yes. So point made. I think I understand now what you're trying to say.
So to conclude on my side, I would say that first of all, don't feel like you can't experience these things without God at the center of it, right? I think that God knows your heart, and God knows that, okay, this is something that you're interested in, so pray about that thing. If you're like, okay,
that this is life.
Do you understand? Like, there's a boy that likes me, God, and like, you know? So experience these things with God at the center, and also have people around you that keep you accountable. And like you, for example, Melissa, I didn't see you come to church last week. Are you okay? What's happening? Or someone that can like tell that, okay, maybe this thing of you going out every single Sunday, it's not working because it's taking you away from the spaces that you need to be in, like your church. So yes,
even stuff like when maybe you're starting to say something that doesn't align,
exactly,
then it's like, but so since when do you think like this? Since when do you say things like that? Then it's like, now I'm checking you because I will get what's going on. And also having friends that are like, that's people or a community that are that safe space to say, yo, I'm curious about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 happened, and this is how I feel, whatever, and just being able to, because at the same time you don't want people that are always going to say, hey, but why did you do that? Like, you know, you want people to listen and say, okay, how did it make you feel, what happened, you know, and make you feel like it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to be confused, it's okay to feel like you want to go that direction, it's okay to, but what's important is that we work it out and we make sure that you come back to line if you're going offline, basically. So I think that's, is that what you want to say? Community?
Yeah, community, God, and also reconcile it with yourself. Like, always come back to the fact that, okay, this is what I'm choosing, or this is a decision that I have made. Not Space said, oh, Space is doing this, and like, let me go try with Space, or Mama is doing this, and like, let me go. No, stick to making that decision for yourself.
Be an independent thinker.
If you want to do it, go and do it. If you want to try it, go and try it.
If you don't want to, don't do it.
If you don't want to, don't. Because that thing is a real thing.
No, for sure.
It's a real thing. Because I remember you started before me.
Yes.
You started before me. So I used to see you and I didn't know, like,
I was gone.
So then,
but that also helped, because when you were like, even me, I want to, then I was there to be like, girl,
you understood.
It's best if you, because if
don't
you
go this way, do it like this. Friends, community.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely, that really helped, and it made you feel okay to talk about it, because I know what you're talking about. So it makes it easier to navigate it, and I think a lot of the things we just navigated them together. But most of the things I experienced them first before you. I don't think we really ever experienced something
at
together.
the same time.
I was only but also you are an independent thinker. Like, the thing is that we are independent thinkers also.
So just because you were doing it, I didn't feel like,
she
oh,
didn't
now
feel like
I must
she
go.
wants to do it. And then when it was her time to do it, then she was like, hey friend, I was thinking, and I'll be like, huh? You want to? Okay, got it. So the main thing is that we are independent thinkers, and it's very important to be independent in your thoughts. Don't wait for someone to say, okay, Balisa, you can, or no, Balisa, don't.
You can't.
You must make your own decisions.
I
think for me, in conclusion, I just want to say that the whole point of this message is to say that it is okay to not experience things at the time that other people are experiencing them. If you feel like you're still young, what is it? Because I even remember my friends, the church friends that I was with, they used to pray for their husbands at 15. They're like, oh, Lord, my husband, wherever he is, may he. And I was like, we are 15. I was like, I'm still a child. Like, I want to think about what my career is going to be. Like, what type of woman I'm going to be. Am I going to wear makeup? Those are the things that I was thinking about. And they were thinking of something different. And I was like, I don't want to think about that yet. I want to think. So then I even had to move away from them and find people that wanted to be a child like me, basically. So I'm not saying that they were wrong for wanting that. It's just that I didn't feel the pressure to want that just because they wanted. And it worked out for them. Like, they all married now. Like, kudos to them, but that's not the journey that I wanted for myself. So I always knew that, like, timing is everything. Like, I know when I'm ready and I know when I'm not ready. So it's okay not to be ready. It's okay. And if you've already moved across that point, like, you've already experienced things, it's okay to be like, okay, now you can change direction. Like, you can always reinvent yourself, like, all the time. There's always a space to say, okay, now I feel like this journey is not for me, let me go another route. And people are gonna be shocked, like, since when do you go to church, or since when do you not do A, B, C, D, F, G? And you have to stand in that, because now they have put a label on you and they've already seen you as this, so they want you to.
And society likes to do that. They will label you.
They want to box
you.
Label you. They want to box you, and they don't want you to change. Like, if you said you are this, be that.
Yes.
House.
If you said you are a Mam Ruti,
be a Mam Ruti. Exactly. So yeah, I just want to encourage you guys to just continue to be yourself, continue to love the Lord. If you love the Lord, if you want to go on a different journey, like, and you feel like that's a journey that you need to go through, then please do that. Please be with people that love you. And at the end of the day, I feel like God is the goal.
Is the goal.
God is the goal.
God is
We
the
can
goal.
be doing what we want to do, Mara. The direction, it must be there to God. And the journey is going to be different. We can't
everyone.
determine what the journey is going to be. But at the end of the day, it must be pointing to God. So be encouraged, my brothers and sisters. Let me be a mom for you. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys want to comment, if you guys want to ask us questions, if you guys have a suggestion of a video that you think you want us to talk about, please let us know. Like, comment, subscribe. Your girl Balisa is signing out. I'm also signing out, but we will see you next time. I don't know when I'm gonna invite her for another video. We will see
soon. There's a lot of things that need to be.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of videos together because we talk a lot.
We talk a lot.
But thank you guys for coming. Bye.